Hey kids, welcome to the Kapitol Life podcast. I am your host, Abby Pagud. This is where we talk about all the things that life brings, the good, the bad, and of course, the healthy. And today's episode is called Give a Gift for Every Reason. And it's every reason, every season. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday. It's about just what can we give and put into the world to reset and get us going? And we have a very, very special episode of Keeping It Real with Real People, as I have my wonderful friend, Miss Rachel, to come join the show. Welcome to the Kapitol Life, Rachel.
Abby, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. When we set our energy ready for this call, I was like, wow, this is going to be really powerful, even though we have no idea what's going to happen.
That's one of the things I really kind of like is that, some of the groups that I've been recently joining just because of, business expansion, development, and the things that we're creating in the world. And I've been talking with like some of my girlfriends on how we look back to a couple years ago, and I'm not talking about the great shift. I don't want to use the vid words. I don't want to talk about the vid words. Like I call it the great shift because it was such a huge opportunity for people to dive in and reassess where their energy was going, what was keeping them distracted. But more importantly, couple years before that, we had a ton of planetary alignments that put us through these huge shifts and changes from masculine energy to feminine energy. We had these huge portals that were, like we had planetary alignments that hadn't happened since like 1212 or something. Like one was like 6/12/58, and it was like crazy, like hundreds of years ago type alignments. But that's why things have been batshit fucking crazy lately. This episode of The Kapitol Life is brought to you by HNG. HNG is a CPA firm that focuses on providing value to their clients above and beyond standard bookkeeping and all about transparent tax prep pricing. When you prepare your taxes with HNG, you also get access to expert CPAs for tax planning opportunities. Go check out all that HNG has to offer at hngcpas.com. Before we dive in, did you guys know that we have gift cards for your loved ones? At Kapitol Health, we pride ourselves in taking care of our people and figured you should too. But sometimes it's a little awkward purchasing that special someone an exercise program to help them tone up their muffin top, or giving them a nutrition consultation to help them get their eating under control. No need to stress. Let the Kapitol Health gift card handle that for you and let your special someone choose what they need for their health and wellness needs. Please like, share, and rate us on whatever platform you're listening. It's how we start to really spread the message of good in the world that needs it so much right now. If you find this helpful or insightful, don't forget to connect with us on Facebook and YouTube at Kapitol Health. That's Kapitol Health. Also, visit us at kapitolhealth.com and subscribe to our newsletter and get wicked awesome updates. And, like lots of times we sit there and we're like, my husband last night, first day of fucking retrograde, right? And as soon as retrograde hit, he was great going off to work, but then through the middle of the day, he just got off balance, and it was just like, I'm just not okay. But the thing is that he's very naturally intuitive. We all are naturally gifted and born with it. But at the same time, some people are not as well versed. Like people's intuition is becoming more awake at an all-time faster level, but they do not have the verbiage or the conversation behind it. They don't have the verbiage to even really fully understand what's happening to them. And I think you probably have noticed a big uptick in that, being that you are a sound and energy healer and like in doing this work for a living. I mean, I've been doing this stuff for a living, but like secretively with people not really knowing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a reason why the people that I have, our clients, stay with me like for their whole life, because when they don't see me, they don't feel right. And it's like, okay, sorry, I didn't tell you. Like, like how many people are you seeing right now that are like coming to you and they are on?
That is a really good question. I have really noticed a shift. Like you were saying, I would say the past 4 years, like this sort of more and more people coming out of the woodwork, sort of like, Rachel, and me being me, also me being made to be seen more visible. So me being more
Yes.
visible,
I
me
can't
having
hide anymore.
no, I have to be accessible. I have to be
Right.
seen. Like so, and so there's a lot of in the pre sort of work to that was me releasing any fear I had about presenting myself to the world as a sound and
Mhm.
energy healer, using my voice to heal people. You know, what would people think about that? So I had to release all of that so that when people were ready to be awakened and wanted more access to their energy, to their light, to their gifts, and they were ready for all this clearing work that I have been doing these past few years. I was in a
Right.
place where I was like, oh, well, I'm dealing and I've dealt with my stuff, so I can be in a place to help so many more people. It's just like people are ready. People are wanting something different, and they're wanting a shift, and they're realizing that the person who has to do that is themselves. So that they're recognizing that actually, let's stop blaming others. Let's stop looking at external situations and trying to think, well, it's their fault, and they need to sort themselves out, or whatever it is, and recognize that actually it's me. Okay, if I work on my energy, if I can clear what's within me and shift my energy, actually I can change. And as I'm changing, I can help others to change at the same time. So, and so people are raising and shifting and changing. Those are people already are changing their
Right.
vibration at a fast level.
Well, and the thing that I really love is like, as soon as we got connected and we really haven't had a conversation with each other.
Nope.
It's like our conversation. And so I think that's really fun because it's like, as soon as I saw just even how you spoke, what your phrasing was, I was immediately like, we have to get this in for a gift for every season, a gift for every reason, because right now we are at an all-time high of identifying. First of all, awareness is becoming in at an all-time high. Awareness is the beginning of shifting. It's where we start doing the work. And what I like is it's so easy to do because a lot of times with the awareness, there isn't anything for you to do, but just be like, oh, that's new. Let me I'm going to hold on to that. I don't know if I'm supposed to do anything with it, but it's like, it's like when someone says something to you, like here in America, we're very ballbustery and we say random outlandish things all the time because we're not as reserved as, our dignified British friends. But but at the same time, we could walk past and it could be a snarl and then everyone internalized it. And it's like, that was a perfect fucking stranger. Why would that bother you? Like, you don't even know what the context of their conversation. You don't know if it was looked at you. You don't know if it was from the person they were with. There's so many different things, but people get into their heads and they start thinking of like, it's about them. And I have been one of those bizarre people where I've always paid attention to my surroundings. I've always been more observant of what's been happening and then where the flow is and where it has been, like, and where it could be going and where there might be some intervention to kind of shift things so it doesn't go into that direction. Where a lot of people are stuck inside their mind. They're stuck inside the overthinking, the scheduling, I always look at it as like it's the control and fear aspects of life. A lot of times, there's so much of the unknown or the unprecedented that freaks people out that they don't know what to do with it. And then they become consumed. And then from that fear, they become massive control freaks. And,
Yes.
I think a lot of people are looking around them and they're seeing this transpire in public where it used to not be in public. Like it used to be behind closed doors or there's like some pretentiousness to it. Like, okay, like different place, different time. But now it's just coming out. And what I see is beautiful healing like opportunities. Like I see this as like, I'm the deranged one that's like, oh, shit's about to go down. This person's about to learn something new about themselves. Let's do this. Like, and so I will get very energized and excited in a quiet, like everybody's kind of my own little TV soap opera. And I'm just kind of like, hey. And then sometimes I get called to jump in to do some work. And then sometimes it's like, it's not my time yet. But I am finding that this beautiful opportunity for society as a whole, like as a whole collective, no matter where you are in the world right now, we're all feeling it. And I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not sorry. But it doesn't matter where the fuck you are. Like, you're on your side of the planet, I'm on my side of the planet, and we're both seeing the same fucking things with all the people that we're working with. And it's like, I feel like we're finally getting somewhere within our within the community, and finally actually being given permission to get back to who we were created to be to begin with.
Yes. 100, like, hallelujah to that.
Look at you. You see? Yeah. And what I think it was really funny, because I think I love the fact that you jumped in, said, let's clear the air before we get started. One, we already know retrogrades on the foot. So we were like, oh crap. And I was like, yeah, but look at my hair. This is weird things that I woke up to this. And then I was kind of like, let's roll with it. It's kind of funny. Like, I think I was like, let's do this. Well, it's got this weird, like, Elvis Presley curl, but instead of it being in front, it's like back here in the middle. And so I just thought that was funny. And then it just adds character to my like shape. So I just thought that was entertaining. And then I was like, oh, well, this goes in with the flow of just keeping it in. And what I really enjoyed is that when you tapped into the energy, it was like right away, I could almost feel like you resetting Kundalini effect, like right off the gate. And then on top of it, like, I was doing my clearing spritz over here and reset, but right away, my apologies of you tapping into my energy. I know.
I was like, wow, this is like big. There's lots going on here. I had to really center myself and because I could feel lots of like energy, almost like wanting to channel, wanting to speak. And I was like, okay, you're gonna have to be one at a time initially. So don't try and speak through me at once, because it's gonna be too much. Let's just ground.
You're gonna tell my guides to calm the fuck down. You're like, dude, that's too much over here.
We can do this, but you got to give us the space and the time to do it.
Yes.
I was wanting to just touch on what you were saying around lots of people, like there's stuff coming up at the moment. And I think it can feel really difficult, can't it? It can feel like really dark, because you can see sort of like what's going on, and you can think, gosh, what on earth is happening? And it can feel quite scary. It can be quite fearful. And you can often think, like, is there anything I can do about it? Like, and you can just go into fear, especially if you spend a lot of your time watching it and observing it and seeing it and like feeling into it, and you get then
feeling into it, then feeds it, and then exacerbates.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And then you feel worse, and then you just get drawn, and then you feed off it. And it's like it's almost like people need that sort of like the drama or the fear or whatever it is. And I think if you can, if you want to make a shift, if you can step out of that and go, actually, if I just start looking at myself, so what's being triggered in me here right now? And like you said, have an awareness about it. It's having an awareness. Once you're aware of it, you can do something about it. If you can be aware of, actually, I'm listening to this and it's not making me feel good, maybe I should stop listening to it. Or I'm saying all this stuff, or I'm complaining, or I don't know, like I don't like the word moaning, but if you complain and you moan a lot about stuff.
My husband uses the term dwell. He uses dwelling, like he doesn't like to dwell in the emotion. And what I find really interesting is, like, to touch on what you're talking about, is it's like the identification of where that feelings take you. But we forget that we have conscious choice to redirect that attention, right? And sometimes we have those emotions, like, like yesterday with my husband, it was just a bad day. There wasn't anything to do. It was, like, there are things that we could have done, but at the same time, what was he willing to participate in doing to shift his energy? And it was like, you know what are you needing? All it is asking your body and checking in to seeing what you're needing, which is one of the most tremendous gifts that you can do for yourself, because a lot of times we're not asking what we're needing right now. And one of my favorite, I don't know if you know, one of my favorite intuitives that I follow is Lee Harris. Have you heard of Lee Harris?
Yes, I have heard of the name. Yes.
Yeah, I wish he still was in like London, because you could just go knock on his door and stalk him for me, because that would be great. Like, for me preferred, like, but you can join in the crowd. It's fine. But one of the things I love that he really challenges people to do is journal just every day, to ask, what is my soul needing today? The end. Like, that's it. And it's amazing because it really starts awakening people's internal voice to come out. And I love how you reflected on how you had to do so much shifting and clearing before getting to where you are today, because when you were talking, I was having my PTSD moments from my clearance, from when we had to address things like 2017, like it was 2018, 2019, 2020 for me.
Yeah.
Huge fucking shifts. And they were like, it's almost my first massive upgrade in 2018 was almost debilitating, to the point where I've always had, I always astral projected as a child, and premonitions have always been just an automatic, thing for me. Like, I've always had lots of premonitions. I never could pinpoint exactly when they would occur, but it was never a question of like if or when. Now, there's been a couple timeline changes, so those things will never come to fruition. And I've been able to identify like which ones those were. And I've also been able to see like where something shifted. And I was like, oh, we're on a different timeline now. My bad. Like, that's not going to be a thing. But it was really interesting because when I had one of my first major upgrades, it was, of course, right around when my grandfather passed, not knowing that he was going to actually pass away on my son's birthday. And what was interesting is on Father's Day weekend, I had a full-fledged physical experience, premonition, and continued to have those physical experiences. I had 4 instances of them timed out exactly to the episodes of when he was setting up for his transition out. And so, like, on Father's Day weekend, like, I was getting my nails done. What's stressful about going to the nail salon, right? Other than like you have a spastic woman or something, that doesn't even happen. No one's talking to each other. It's not a big deal. I mean, the biggest stress is people talking a different language and you get paranoid that they're talking about you. I don't really give a shit if they're talking about me because I'm weird as hell already. So like, they're probably already talking about me. So it was like, here I'm getting my nails done. And then all of a sudden I have a full-fledged, like, dizziness, like fainting, like I like almost completely just passed out. Like, now, I ended up having another experience of that in front of a friend that I've known for years, but we never had like a conversation. Like, we had always just been more formal friends. And then we sat down to have a conversation. And with one conversation, I had to get up and leave. And I felt like I was going to die in the bathroom stall. And I called my husband, got home. There were days that I was so sensitive. If I walked outside, everything was pulsing. Everything was pulsing. And so it was so loud. And like, if like my sister-in-law came over to the house once and I wasn't feeling well, but just sitting in the presence of one other person, like, was almost debilitating, because it was like fingernails on a chalkboard, because there was so much reception that was coming through that I hadn't learned how to deal with yet. And it did interestingly put me back to like my beginner step basics of awareness and doing protection bubbles, and like in really actually going back to like my beginning skills. But then after that transition, it was like we went up to our family lake house and I was like, okay, at least I can have some time off and get some rest. Any single time that I was in the room with my grandfather, I got dizzy, sick, nauseous, something. Like, it was like pins and needles on a chalkboard just to even sit in a conversation. And he's a man that loves to talk for like an hour and a half. Like, this is like, it's lecture time, take out your notes type of conversation. And so, we got through the summer the best that we could. And then as soon as the day that we left, boom, the first episode that happened, then literally it followed the sequence to which I had physically experienced. I finally put it together on the 3rd incident. And then as soon as that last episode, I like pre-warned my mom on the 3rd time, because I said, Mom, something's going to happen on Sunday. Like, pay attention. And thankfully he did not, that was not his out. That was not his transition out, but it did seal the deal because he had gotten to the point where he ended up like falling and then having leaking gut, and it was just waiting for the time to come. And then of course my aunt, who my grandmother had passed 2 years prior, on her birthday at the beginning of the season, the summer season, where my grandfather's like, this is great, everyone's calling me, I'm getting attention, I think I'll just wait until after the season to die. And we're like, sure, that makes sense. And he's like, everyone keep your tickets the same. I don't need everyone. I just want to see everyone normally. And so we just rode out the summer. And then sure enough, I sick as a dog the whole summer. I wake up on my son's birthday, 5 o'clock in the morning, feel like I could go for a run, feel like I could lift and conquer the world. I was told energetically to do so, and I did not listen. I was told specifically, get changed and run this out. And I didn't, and I came back because I was confused on why. And I when I set into it and I go, why do I feel so good? Oh my God, he died. Before we dive in, did you guys know that we have gift cards for your loved ones? At Kapitol Health, we pride ourselves in taking care of our people and figured you should too. But sometimes it's a little awkward purchasing that special someone an exercise program to help them tone up their muffin top, or giving them a nutrition consultation to help them get their eating under control. No need to stress. Let the Kapitol Health gift card handle that for you, and let your special someone choose what they need for their health and wellness needs. And I knew right away. And so then I came back to the bedroom and told my husband, which then, of course, my husband's like, no, honey, come in and snuggle, which then the snuggles got me. The snuggles always get me. And then what ends up happening, they're crazy dogs, just ignore them. So then what basically happened is, like, I get in bed and then doze back off to sleep, get a message later, find out from Facebook that our caregiver had posted it. And so here, good God, they really are going after those squirrels. But so I get back in bed, then we're just sitting down in our normalcy, doze back off to sleep. He picks up his phone, Facebook alerts from our caregiver, like it says, rest in peace, which clearly we know what that is, where half of our family didn't even know. And then my mom calls and then she delivers and says, I'm so sorry you found out that way. I was like, no, I already knew. Like, I already, like, this is not new news to me. Like, I know physically that it was, but that was, and then that year I went through 4 major upgrades on top of that. And then after that, I had to deal with my voice because I had so much healing that needed to be done with my voice because I was not in a place. I had been wanting to start this podcast. I had been frozen in, like, whatever distracted and kept in the way of starting it, kept getting in the way. And sure enough, it was because I had to get comfortable. I had to heal the part of my voice that was ready to speak into what was coming. And as soon as I started that podcast, I started it for the intent of education and wellness and, like, making sure people could have a trusted source to talk about education. And sure as shit, all of a sudden I keep having these episodes of Keeping It Real with Real People, and just magnifyingly powerful conversations keep happening. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. Okay, I'm just going to step out of the way and just let this be what it needs to be. But it's like, you have to get to a point of surrendering, of trusting the process, of not, like, I mean, you're questioning what's going on within you, but at the same time, you also are respecting your body that it has to go through that transition. What was your, like, I'm sure you've had multiples, but, like, where did it start for you?
Wow. Okay. It started for me majorly sort of so that I could step into what I'm doing now. Let's talk about that. So I trained to be an opera singer. Like, so this is my early 20s. That was like that was what I thought I was meant to be doing.
So your voice was healing already.
Yeah, but
I had a healing magic already within you.
But I had no idea. Like, that wasn't even in my awareness. I wasn't born into an energy family that talks about energy or healing or anything like that. It was the complete opposite. So I literally had no idea that I would be doing what I'm doing now. But that's just like 15 years ago. but when I came out of that world, actually, I shut it all down because I felt like a failure. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I had a voice worth hearing. And I was very clear that I was never going to sing again. I was never going to use my voice. That was how I was going to protect myself from the rejection, from the hurt, from the you're not good enough, and all of that went kind
Right,
of
but
like
it was
went on
your
with that
internal
world.
perceptions that got
Yeah,
flipped and
yeah,
then prevented you from doing
yeah. So this
work.
was blocked. This was
Yeah.
blocked for about 10 years. And so I had to go then on my own journey of, okay, so what am I meant to be doing? Like, I'm not meant to be a singer. So what am I meant to be doing? I lasted in the corporate world for a couple of years. And I was like, this really is not where I belong at all. Panic attacks, driving on the motorway, not enjoying it, thinking this isn't where I'm meant to be. And I became a therapist maybe about 10 years or so ago, but that was very much in the terms of I was a massage therapist because what, people will get that, people will understand that. But it was my segue into doing the work that I do now. What really, really came about for me was when I was turning 40 and I was suddenly like, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. There's something in me that needs to come out. I feel stuck. I feel emotional. I feel depressed. I feel down. I don't know what to do about it. And it was all this stuff that was coming up. And I recognized then that was the point where it came to me that actually the only person who can shift me through this is me. I remember talking to my husband about it, and I sort of going through the motions of crying and going round and round like in circles, and I was sort of almost like waiting for someone to come and rescue me, or someone else to find the answer, and no one else was going to find the answer. And I remember him saying to me, he said to me, but Rachel, do you really want to change? And when he said that, he said, because where I'm looking, it doesn't seem like you do want to change, because nothing's happening. You keep saying
You're
you're
doing
going
the
to do
same
this.
repetitive behavior.
Yeah,
Right.
everything's
Yeah.
and that really struck a chord with me. And I thought, actually,
I love those husbands, but I hate them at the
yeah,
same
yes,
fucking time.
exactly.
Like,
But it really
you're like,
hit me.
I fucking hate that you just said that to
Yeah,
me, but I love you so much because you're
yes,
fucking right. And then you turn
yes,
around and have your mini temper tantrum of, God
yes,
damn it. Now I got
yes,
work to do and it's my
yeah,
job.
yes. But it's so liberating at the same time, isn't it? So
Yes.
that was it all. That was okay, I need to, that was my journey of finding a mentor, like healing, and recognizing that I wasn't meant to be on my own in a massage room with all these gifts and no one knowing
Yeah.
about them. I had to let them out. And very quickly I remember, and this is what I did, I kind of, like you said, surrendered over. And I remember just saying, all right, universe, I'm ready. You need to show me what it is, what exactly you want me to be doing, but I'm ready to do it. You've got to guide me on this, but I'm going to do it. And within about 2 or 3 weeks, I was working with clients, and I was suddenly like feeling like this sense of my voice literally unlocking and
Yeah.
opening up, and I had to sing. It was like there was if I needed to grow and expand, that I couldn't hold this in any longer. And so I remember I was with a client, and I said, I need to sing. I said, there's energy, there's blocked emotions within your body, and the frequency that I'm going to sing is going to help you heal. And literally my voice just went, woof, it opened back up again.
Amazing.
And it was just like this incredible moment of me being in tears because I'd suddenly allowed myself to be me, and I'd found the gift, and her being like, oh my God, that was so amazing. And that was 6 years ago now. And so now it's like, it's just gone, taken off.
That's
But
amazing. Do you
yeah,
always use your voice to heal people at frequencies, or does it only come in at like different waves? Because we always have
yeah,
to, I mean, I've noticed we always have to do different things for different people. And we
yeah,
can't go into a session with like a preconceived notion of what we're to do. We have to
no,
clear ourselves out and then like censor. Like, I mean, I always, when I jump into a client, it doesn't matter if I'm working on them energetically, because I normally am anyway, but like,
mm,
the intent, if the person came to me with the intention for energy work versus it was, a consultation, a health, overall physical health consultation, right? Because the work that we do, most people are attracted to us because of the rebalancing, refocusing, and what we provide for them on a physical level. They sometimes don't really understand the depth and intensity of what we do on an energetic level until
yeah,
they are with us. And even some of my like physical being clients, they still don't understand it. But at the same time, they just are like, I just feel good when I'm around you. Like, and then
yeah,
I'm just like, that's fine. Just let it be what it needs to be. And then ironically, over years, this time, they take off huge chunks every year of programming that has been with them for massive amounts of time. But it's interesting because I've noticed with some people, it's like, I really just have to clear and reset. And I usually say, like, God, let me be who I need to be for this person. Let me speak into what needs to be spoken into and allow me to receive what's necessary for their delivery. You know, like, and that's usually kind of like my go-to right away of bringing somebody in. And then sometimes shit gets weird. Like, I mean, sometimes it's so fun and fascinating. And then other times it's like, oh shit, we got a family member that's will not shut up. My apologies. We have to like press pause because this person, I was like, man, this person is like, just won't. And they're like, oh yeah, that's my brother. Like, that totally makes sense. And then it just like, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, he keeps interrupting. He's like, yeah, that he doesn't stop. And it was like, there was just ways where you could tell what it was. But, you know, a lot of times when I even get to a point where I do end up channeling for somebody, I don't remember what came out of my mouth. And it was like, you know, like they will remind me years later, oh, do you remember what you said? Because you told me da, 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 da. And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, it came through, it comes in and it's out. And then it wasn't for me to hold on to. It was for them to hold on to. But I have found like that I have to really just keep an open mind in what I'm using. Sometimes it'll be sound healing bowls, like one over the other. Like sometimes I have to do my like muscle check to just even see, okay, are we doing tuning forks today? Am I doing hand? Like what are we doing? But at the same time, I also get really fascinated on the new stuff that comes in for us, where like you with your voice, I have found that I have had to clear myself out doing the weird, like whatever moments in the car in between clients sometimes, where all of a sudden I'll get out of a session and then I basically just purge for like 2 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I got it. Like, we're good to go. So if you ever see me in my truck and I'm doing weird things, it's normally just clearing.
That sounds familiar. It sounds very familiar. No, you're right. Like, it's like you said, every session, whether it's a private session, whether it's a session that I'm running for a big group, sometimes I've got 100 people on live, sometimes I'm in a small group, sometimes I've got a private client. And every time, like you said, I have to open up and just really trust and allow. So sometimes I am digging, I'm like literally feeling in someone's body and I am pulling out. I'm literally pulling out blocked emotions, thoughts, beliefs, whatever. So I do a lot of like pulling, a lot of digging, like having to really get
like
in the body,
clearing,
like clearing it and throwing it out. Like, and then sometimes with the voice, and this is where I had to really work on allowing it to be open and free and not fearful. I will speak like languages that don't sound remotely
English. Shit, you're one of those.
So
okay, that's fascinating.
Light language, I will speak, and I know it's vibrations. I know it's sounds that people need to hear. It's like sometimes it's words that help the body to clear. It's clearing their emotions and it's their thoughts. And I know the intention behind it. They don't need to understand it. I'm just speaking it. And then sometimes it shifts into vibration, literal sounds. So if someone's got some anger within them and they've never expressed it, they can't express it, and they don't know how to express it, I will find that frequency of that anger, and the sounds will almost like match that frequency and shift it and speak it for them. Like allow their body to finally express the things they've never been able to express. And then when we can express it and the sounds express it for them, it can move out of the body and they can finally like release it. So
I had a moment like that when my sister was actually going through a breakdown in her later 30s. We came from a very, I kind of look at it as, you know, part of my awakening was from the beginning, because, you know, there are rumors that a lot of healers end up going through very traumatic experiences in their early years to wake them up faster. It's like, if the name of the game is to wake up and do your job, like how do we play this game? And it's like, hey, let's just beat the crap out of these children and then get them connected really quick to their source. Like, and we had experiences like that. And my sister, she never really understood some of what I knew to be true. Like I was astro projecting as a child. I would even say, hey, oh my God, I can fly. I can do flips. Come watch me. And she'd be like, no, like that's not a thing. And I'm like, no, seriously, come watch. And so there was this one couch, I would get into this position, but it would get me into this meditative state that would put me into astral projection. And I didn't understand it until later years, but it was so funny because like I saw her, like while I'm flying on top of the room, I saw her stand there, get frustrated, walk to the garage, get a Coke, stand there for a second, walk up to grab a snack from the kitchen, then come back down and be like, fuck it, I'm going upstairs. And then, and so then after I came out of it, I immediately ran to go see her and be like, why did you leave? Like, why did you not? Because I didn't understand she couldn't see me, like where if she was more energetically inclined, she probably would have been able to feel my soul move around her, but she wasn't at that plane. And so like I went and saw her and said like, hey, why did you leave? And she's like, you were just sleeping. And I was like, no, seriously. And then I described every single thing that she did. And then she looked at me, and then that's when Spooky McGee came out. And I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk about that. And so that was like one of my first instincts of shutting myself down for what I was, because I didn't understand. But it was like, there's so many different like perceptions that people have. How are things with your husband? Because my husband has never questioned me. He just follows and listens. He sometimes doesn't understand it. Only in recent years does it come up as like an issue sometimes, because I get into teacher conversation mode. And then he's like, hold on, this is not a healing moment. And then I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, my apologies. So there will be a couple of times where I'll have to I will be too energetically balanced that he will be like, I'm upset. I want to be upset. And I'm like, okay. And I process through things so fast that I have to remember, oh, he needs a day or two to go through those feelings. And then I'm sitting here like, are we done yet? Like in the corner, because I'm one of those types of people. And I'm also kind of into like my human design. I am like, even though I'm a outgoing source, I am a hermit. And so that's how I am a hermit to regenerate. So, but I do, what is that like for your husband? Cause like him watching you through this massive transition of discovery of I'm not happy and I need to do something different. And then he's your voice of reason to say, hey, you haven't done anything different. Like wake up, lady. And then, and then now he's watching you go through this huge transformation of healing energetic bodies physically to like, hey, now I'm clearing this room. What is he like? Does he go along? Was he raised by that? Is he familiar with it? Or is he starting to be more awake and aware?
Oh, he's very awake and aware. It's brilliant. So I think
that's awesome.
What's been amazing is that he's seen the transition in me. And he's seen that the more I've done this, the more I have become me. So that's amazing. And so,
oh my God, it makes the love like so much more intensified. So there's like if anything, it's like the connection is even more vibrant.
We have moments where we come and we recognize there's things within us we need to heal, and we do that, and then that helps our relationship, which is amazing. But I think he's just given me the space to like become me, which is amazing. So sometimes I don't sit there and say, oh, this happened in a session today. I don't, because that's my private work I do with my clients.
Yeah, ditto. We can't.
No, but he's just fully like, I think he's just seen my business grow. He's seen me grow energetically. So what's been amazing is that he's been fully behind it, because I know sometimes it's difficult when people who do want to grow and shift and change, if their partner's fearful of that, or they're not ready for the change, or they don't want to energetically grow themselves. It can be difficult if you're not both trying to grow and understand and expand, which he is. So that's great. But I do understand that sometimes it can be quite difficult if you're trying to grow and your partner's not quite ready, or they're fearful of it, so they try and hold you back and keep you down. that can be tricky.
Well, and it's interesting because when there was a moment, I think it was 2.5 years ago, actually. It was like 2 years ago, somewhere in that window. And I feel like it was more in the fall area. And I was getting ready. Putting my makeup on, like doing the things, which I don't wear makeup anymore just because my body has been like, nope, let's not do that anymore. And I don't know why, but I keep listening. And then I find I actually look better in photos. So I'm like, I don't know what I look like right now. And I don't really care because like I'm here as I need to be in this moment. And that's okay. And so it was so funny because I was like, I'm here getting ready. And then all of a sudden I get most of my messaging in my left ear. It like comes, my left ear is, and I did not shave my head for any connective reason to my left side in any way, shape or form. It just happened to be that way. But it was funny because it just came in and my spirit guides just said to me, is he coming with? And I immediately was like, what are you talking about? And it's like, we've got shit to do. Like, I mean, I swear to my spirit guides, they don't swear to me. They're probably tired of my tongue, but at the same time, they're freaking awesome. You were just like one of my really good friends who's my energy healer. She's like, always like, thank you so much. And I'm just like, why are you so polite all the time? I'm so jealous of that. I don't do that.
I'm always thanking them. Like, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I'm like, get your shit together. We gotta go. Before we dive in, did you guys know that we have gift cards for your loved ones? At Kapitol Health, we pride ourselves in taking care of our people and figured you should too. But sometimes it's a little awkward purchasing that special someone an exercise program to help them tone up their muffin top, or giving them a nutrition consultation to help them get their eating under control. No need to stress. Let the Kapitol Health gift card handle that for you and let your special someone choose what they need for their health and wellness needs. So I probably need to work on my phrasing, but at the same time, I'm like, I love you. And they were good. So, but all of a sudden I get in this, like, is he coming with? And I was like, of course he's coming with. And they're like, are you sure? And paused very specifically to give me space, like to consider, which immediately I'm like, he's coming with, like this, there is no reason he's not coming with, like he keeps me grounded. I know who I am with him. He is my solidarity to all the work that I do. And if I don't have my solidarity, I'm not going to be able to be as expansive as I need to be. Like that. Yes. Like everybody get on board. Let's go. Like you get his guides, you get my guides, you get everybody you need. I don't care who you're recruiting for the job, but let's freaking go. And they're like, all right. And then sure enough, and like, that's how they came into me. Just very clear, very quick, all of that. And sure as crap, right after that, my husband's world started shifting and changing like massive bombshells left and right. And it was like, so every single time I felt like I was starting to get somewhere, something would go on with him to shift because I'm raising up to another level. And so they're like, we've got work to do. If he's going to come, he can't be where he's at. So he's got to come with. And so sometimes when he, like if he doesn't feel well, he goes through a whole physical purging. Like he goes through a whole clearance of everything. And then I just look and I'm like, I am so sorry. I think I kind of set you up for that. Like my apologies. But we've had amazing, like crucial conversations. And, I've gone into, speaking to him on the phone after a session that was more of a meeting, not like an actual appointment. And, saying, I have the vision of where I'm going. I know what I need to do. Are you ready? Because I'm feeling the intensity to which this is going to go. Like I have a mission and it's becoming clearer and clearer. And, and he just kind of said to me very straight up, and I love his directness on this because this is just who he is. But it was right away like, oh, am I going to be happy that like you're the breadwinner and like, and you're taking care of all of us? Fuck no, I'm a dude. Like that's not okay for me. But at the same time, I don't want to be the man that gets in your way.
Yeah.
I would hate myself more if I'm the one to get in the way and do all of the different things. And I so no, like we're doing this. I'm 100% committed. I'm going to have moments where I'm not okay, but at the same time, I'm willing and ready to work through them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I just need to know, like, if I start getting too far ahead and we need to call back a little bit, I just need you to communicate what you need. And so we've been on that discovery to work through those things together, but it's been amazingly transformational for him. I mean, I'm seeing things within him I never thought I would see, like, ever in my lifetime whatsoever. And it's just absolutely glorious and beautiful. Just to have the support and give that gift of just knowing and backing and being there for one another, just like your husband does. Cause like, I think it's tremendous
It's
when,
amazing.
love does impossible things.
Yeah.
Like the gift of love does so many different things, and it provides the support. It provides all of everything of what we need.
And you should never, it's just what was coming through. You should never be fearful of your partner, whoever is wanting to change and wanting to do things, like, don't ever fear that, or don't be like, oh gosh, they're changing. But you know what? Give them the space to do that, because as they change, you can grow as well. So don't be ever fearful of that. And what was I going to say? Because there's a reason, often the reason the couple is together. And if you can rather than sort of like growing apart from each other like this, like growing apart, actually, what if you could grow together and evolve together both, and actually expand and shift and change your energy? So I look at it like that. And what's been amazing is, because we've both actually been doing a lot of work on ourselves, now it's almost like, so he's a composer, he's a musician.
Oh, very cool.
Just amazing. So now I use my voice a lot. I create a lot of meditations. And now, because he gets the energy work that I do, he gets it. I'll say to him, listen, I need to do this. Can you create some music to go with it?
Right.
So he creates the music behind what I do. So the two of us
can make that healing music that hits the frequency to clear all different aspects. I have good friends, like I very much am focusing on, hey, let's get 728 hertz. Let's get 5558 hertz. Like, there's just so many different levels of music. And the thing is, before, frequency music used to be tied into just the meditation calm, and it was like, more like sound background noise. Now we have amazing people that are literally using their voices, they're using their bowls, they're using, just different things to provide that frequency so that we can actually get, healed from within. And I'm so musically inclined. Like, I've been, a lot of my work is changing to the point where it's becoming easy, but at the same time, it's easy because it's my natural gifts coming out. But at the same time, I'm having to prevent myself from the old version of myself doing stuff that was the burnout behavioral patterns, because I felt like I had to do all the tinkering. And it's like, I'm starting to like break out of that. And what's really interesting is I notice, like, with my husband and I are two powerhouses. And usually, like, you get a couple that, you have one that's kind of more your lead, and then you have one that's kind of like
the support,
the cheer. Yes. You usually have that kind of balance. But what I'm finding is that when you are really synergistically matched in your partnership and in that connection, you actually both become powerhouses together in just different ways. Right. And so I find it so interesting that, like, my husband very much, like, he speaks like I do. We both have that powerful voice and that powerful motivation and that energy and that drive. And so, but I'm finding ways where there's things that I'm called to do for the future, but I know he fits in and plugs into that and creates that balance. And so now I'm like, okay, my focus needs to get to this level so we can get him to leave his job and come and we do this blend. Because, I mean, for couples healing retreats, the two of us would be incredible, because we would say all the shit that nobody wants to say, because I mean, clearly, like, obviously, but even more so than I find that my son, his musical talent is really starting to speak through. And my husband has always been he's never been taught how to play an instrument in his life, but he can pick up any instrument and play it and figure it out because he's got that hearing. And he also is artistically inclined. It's insane what the man can do. Like, I can't even draw stick figures, but like, he's like sitting there and he can do every single font and calligraphy that there is known to man. But then I'm finding that my son is now starting to create like pattern beats and pattern drumming. And he's really getting into that kind of vibration to the point where I was actually creating a guided meditation the other day. And I heard a song that was a song that he absolutely loved. And I'm like, holy shit, this actually might be a perfect playlist for one of my ecstatic dances. Like, it was crazy because I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see ways where my husband gave me the support to let me be me, which expanded me out. But now I'm coming to the realization that was necessary so that they could all expand and grow within themselves and meet me where it is. And then we're creating something just harmonious and synergistically together. But, like, I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm really excited to see what could transpire.
Yeah. And that's what's so exciting, is it, about doing this sort of like work on yourself, is that you don't necessarily know. You have to be okay with not knowing exactly where it's going. You have to be okay in knowing that it might be different from where you are now. And sometimes where you are now is what's known, is what's normal. And even though it might be uncomfortable, it. You have to be okay with sort of releasing that and going, okay, I don't know exactly where this is going, but I'm going to trust it. And I'm going to follow those nudges. I'm going to follow those things that I feel led to do. And I'm not going to hold myself back, and I'm not going to allow the fear to stop me. And that's what's so amazing, because I can see a bigger picture, and I don't know exactly how it's going to get there, but I know now we're going to get there.
Right.
Like, it's happening. But that's really about keeping evolving your energy and not staying stuck, and being aware and noticing when you're hitting those boundaries of resistance, those boundaries of, okay, there's another level for me to grow into here. I can either stay here, or I can work through these uncomfortable bits of me that need healing, and I can work through. And then you work through that, and first of all, you think I'm going backwards, but actually sometimes what happens is you're going backwards so that actually you can be propelled even further out.
Right.
But it feels like sometimes when you're in this process, it's like, oh my God, I'm going backwards. I thought I dealt with this already. Why am I going back into this again? It's because there's something just a little deeper.
There's another layer of healing that you didn't get. Yeah.
And then you're like, and then you're suddenly like, wow, I've ended up here, which is even more amazing. But it takes discernment, and it takes time, and it takes a commitment to yourself.
And I think if people realize that the work that you're doing within yourself internally is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. 100%.
For every single season, for every reason. And it becomes an expanded ripple effect to where then you have other people that are jumping into being able to do the same themselves. And then they get to a higher frequency, and then it keeps perpetuating from person to person to person. Then all of a sudden we have this massive community of freaking awesomeness. And it's so fun. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I really want to know, how can my listeners get a hold of you? Like, I mean, you're such a delight to have on the show, and be able to just have these conversations, as weird as they might be for some of our listeners, but also how accurate they are for the others.
Yes.
How can we get a hold of you?
I was going to say, if it has been weird, then you were meant to hear it and just go with it. So how can they get hold of me? So really easy. So they can go to rachelwayte.com. So I'm Rachel Wayte, Wayte. And that's my website. If they want to try anything, there was a free healing that comes up instantly. It's called Unstoppable Energy. And so if you're just needing uplifting your energy, you just click on that, and it's a whole hour's like healing, releasing. They can sort of get a shift in the energy instantly there. They can follow me on the usual channels, Instagram, Facebook. Those are the two ones that I use, LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And that's how people can find me.
And last step, like, do you have any messaging, any quotes, anything that you would like to leave us with? I'm going to let you kind of check in with yourself temporarily to see what that might be, and let you just roll it out.
Yeah, I think it was about that, what you said about the gift of giving. Actually, if you give to yourself, most people think, oh, I need to give to others, I need to give to others, I need to give to others. But that's exhausting. If you give to yourself, so if you give yourself that gift of, I'm going to give myself time, I'm going to heal, I'm going to spend time with myself, I'm going to meditate, whatever it is, you give to yourself, actually, it means that you're giving to others in so much more, because you're not resentful that you're always giving to others. You're not exhausted all the time. You're not on that I must please others before I ever think about pleasing myself. You please yourself first. You've got the energy, you've got the love for yourself, you've got so much more time. It creates so much more freedom when you put yourself first, you gift yourself first, and then you will notice how much actually you've got to give to others from a place of, I want to give and I enjoy giving and I've got the time to give it, rather than that, oh, I've got to do that again, and resenting it, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, and
Well,
being
it's
exhausted
it's it's
from it.
coming from a pure source of light and
Yeah,
love. And
yeah,
pure sort of life and love is always a constant flow. And
yeah.
we forget that our light can't be dimmed.
No,
It's about what are we going through that's blocking it from shining through. And
yeah,
so I think that just was perfect in explaining how much people are in need of taking care of themselves first and foremost, even though our gut instinct and reaction is not to, it's to take care of everyone else. And
yeah,
when we really replenish our soul, we actually can heal the world, which is
absolutely.
tremendous. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Rachel. You're just a treasure. And I thank you so much for being with us and sending your guided messaging with all of our listeners today.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely. Thanks, Abby.
Thanks for joining me today on the Kapitol Life, where we talk about all the things. Join me next time as we focus on the new year to new gear. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and Facebook at Kapitol Health. That's Kapitol Health. Please share with your friends and family. The Kapitol Life is available on all podcasting platforms except Pandora. Our goal at the Kapitol Life is to provide a safe place to get information when it comes to your health and wellness, especially when dealing with all of life's phases. Remember to take care of yourself, because you're somebody's everything.